Hello, my name is Maya LaQuire, and for my capstone, I'm going to be showing you some really cool geological features in Terrace, BC. We're currently on our way to Mount Layton Hot Springs and Onion Lake to explore. Here we are at our first destination, Onion Lakes in Terrace, BC. This lake is a kettle lake formed by a glacier. The glacier, receding backwards, dropped a giant iceberg. Falls into the ground. It stays there for a really long time because it takes a really long time to melt. Over time, sediment starts building up around the glacier, covers it, and it melts, leaving behind a kettle lake. Here I am on a local fault. Faults are the reason that these hot springs are possible. Faults are cracks in the earth and a perfect way for water to travel. Snowmelt and rainfall trickle down mountains and get into the faults, and it travels down deep into the earth. The further it gets down, the hotter it gets due to radioactive decay of elements like uranium and pressure. The water gets pushed back up by the denser, colder water on its way down. The water can get about 6 kilometers down and can reach temperatures up to 100 degrees.
Hey, have a good day, you guys.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
How you pull this and flush it.
Hey guys, here I am at a viewpoint on Terrace Mountain. I'm looking over Kitsamkalem Valley, which is a fault block valley. So, a long time ago, BC wasn't here, and Alberta was where the coast is, and the ocean met the land at Alberta. And in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the Pacific Plate was being melted at a subduction zone, creating islands formed by volcanoes. Then, the Pacific Plate pushed into the North American Plate, taking along those islands with it. Those islands formed together to create a huge landmass we call BC. All that tension between the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate created huge mountains. And when it stopped pushing so hard, the land started to relax. When the land started to relax, it created cracks. And in between the cracks, the land sank, which creates valleys, like the Kitsamkalem Valley. We just arrived at the Old Remo fossil beds. Here we have a huge chunk of limestone. Limestone is a great rock to hold fossils because it's a sedimentary rock. There's 3 types of rocks in the world: igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary. Sedimentary is the best rock to contain fossils because igneous and metamorphic undergo way too much heat and pressure to contain fossils. You can find limestone surrounding islands. Limestone is made out of crystallizing calcite in water and fragments of corals and seashells cementing together. You may be wondering how limestone got to Terrace if it was made from a bunch of islands. Well, it all goes back to the formation of BC, because BC is made from a bunch of islands. So now you get chunks of limestone all throughout BC. The fossils found at Old Remo are mold and cast fossils. This happens when a hard shell is buried under the hardening limestone. Over time, the shell will dissolve, leaving a perfect mold. Eventually, sediment will get into the mold and harden to make a perfect cast of the shell. This is a fossil. Today, I'm at Airport Hill. Airport Hill is a came terrace, and came terraces are formed from glaciers. Underneath the glacier, there's a flow of water that acts like a river. This river deposits sediment just like it would in a regular river. Basically, a rock or something big causes a blockage. This blockage causes more and more sediment to deposit around it. Eventually, it will make a huge mound. This mound can get so big that it reaches the top of the bottom of the glacier, creating a huge flat hill, which is what we're on, Airport Hill. Because the water flow acted like a river, you get rounded, tumbled up rocks, just like these. Cleanza Creek, where in the late 1800s and early 1900s, miners would pan for gold. The gold that is found in the creek is from weathering and eroding gold veins found upstream and in the mountains. The gold vein is created by hydrothermal ore formation, where groundwater gets heated up by magma, gets so hot that it melts the minerals in the rock and rises up in the cracks of the rock, and then it solidifies. X2 Falls is a hanging valley. A hanging valley is a tributary to a U-shaped glacial valley. Instead of entering the valley at the same level, it enters at a higher elevation, often creating a waterfall. In other words, it's a smaller U-shaped valley that meets up with a larger U-shaped valley. U-shaped valleys are created by the abrasion of rock from ancient glacial ice. Water often flows at the bottom of U-shaped valleys because it is at the lowest point. Okay, here we go. Gold orb.
One.
No! Get the red. Okay, I'm ready. Stop! Around it. This mound? No! No, get. On our way to find the fossils. We love fossils. Fossils are awesome. Damn. Delete it. Because no. Stop. Get rid of it. Die. You see, is made. Get rid. Because it was no. Hello. No.